computer. So here we are, lovely ladies. Can I welcome in particular somebody that I think is known to most of us, the lovely Dawn Stevenson, who is joining the members club. So welcome, Dawn. I'd like to explain in detail about how we run these meetings, and it's very process driven, and there's particular things that we do, but actually it's not like that. We have interactive conversations and we sort of follow where it goes. Sometimes we have people sat in the chair, which we've done a couple of times with Paola and Tracy, and that's always an option I think we'll come back to if someone wants some support in particular areas of their business. But we have 2 meetings a month. This is the lunchtime one, which tends to be change into different ways. April, we've got ladies a resilience workshop, 2 amazing women that I met online who do a lot of training for women, Women for Work, they're called, Jenny and Emma. Fingers crossed I've got that right. And they're going to do us a 1.5 hour interactive fun workshop next month at this time in April on resilience. And given that we are now at least a year into these interesting times that we're in, I thought that might be a really good subject for us to talk about. Today, I thought we might talk about habits, particularly because I think going forward, although we've perhaps got a bit of a roadmap out of where we have been, I still think it's going to be very different. From my perspective, you know, we've still got the network that goes on with the lovely Sarah and Julie, and we've talked, haven't we, Sarah, about whether we want to do face-to-face meetings or what that's like, and not everybody does. So even though we might have a bit of a roadmap, we're still not very clear about how things are going to be in the new world. So I think for me, habits and things that, and there's good and there's bad, is a good thing to talk about. You all know that I love goal setting, and that's very much about creating habits. So committing to do something and repeating and making sure that we can come to an end goal. Has anybody read the James Clear book, Atomic Habits, that I shared the details of the other day by any chance? If you're interested in this sort of thing, I think it's a multi-million-pound seller, you know, but he's a really interesting guy. I've been on his newsletter list, I reckon, probably well before I started the network. And I really love the way that he writes. And he has a great blog, but he talks about habits. And, you know, in terms of, say, goal setting, let's say it's the start of the year, we want to give up alcohol, or we want to get fit, we want to do something, we're going to set a goal, and we talk about, don't we, taking small steps and repeating them and going on. He talks very much about 1% change. So if you just changed by 1%, I can't even get 1%, tiny amount, the compound effect of that every day is phenomenal. And by the end of the year, you're looking at something like 37%. Paola's nodding already. I know she's going to have some views on this. So he talks a lot about the compound interest of self-improvement, and you know my passion for personal development. So I just thought we could perhaps have a conversation about things that we might already be doing, things that we are trying not to do, because there's all sorts of things about starting good habits and creating habits and how we keep on to them. But there's also that thing that sometimes there is stuff that we don't want to do anymore. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to do. So I thought we'd just open it out to start. If anybody wanted to share particularly stuff that they've maybe since the pandemic started doing that they found useful, and they're going to keep that up, that's a good habit, or anything really. So wave at me if you've got a view and want to have a talk about this subject.
I'm signing up with Paola.
Are you?
Yeah, I signed up with Paola to change all my bad habits.
Right, come on, Bev, talk more.
Well, no, I have a really bad habit with eating. Eating is one of my, you know, I eat a lot of sugar, I eat a lot of junk food. I don't eat a lot, it's just what I eat is absolute rubbish. And I've struggled over the years to find ways to get over that and to get over that. So it was your comment about giving up sugar and talking to Paola, and I've worked with Paola for a while now, so she understands me and my weirdness. So I'm hoping Paola will help me. Because as I've got older, you know, I hit the 60s and it's like, you can't get away with it anymore. and it makes me tired, and I don't have the energy, and it doesn't help with fibros. So yeah, Paola's going to help me change those bad habits of eating and bad habits of not taking time out, and those bad habits of constantly doing it for everybody else. And yeah, so she's going to help me reinvent myself.
Brilliant. And it's interesting you say reinvent yourself, because I think one of the other things that I picked up from that book that I was talking about that really had resonance with me, and it is myself, this is going to turn into the Paola show now, having had that session with Paola, on reflection, something that he always says, it's no good saying, I'm going to try and lose weight, I'm going to try and give up sugar, I'm going to try and go network, whatever it is. In order to be successful, you have to believe that you are that person. And it came about the other day because I got some problems with my knee, which turns out to be osteoarthritis. And I was saying to my osteopath, oh, well, I'd like to think I'm quite fit. And on reflecting for this session today, I thought, well, hang on, I'm not quite fit. I am fit and I like walking. And what I think this whole bit is about, you have to believe you are that person. I've now started to believe that actually I am quite fit. I don't try and play golf. I'm not brilliant at it, but I've joined a golf club. I play golf. I'm a golfer. It's a bit like writing. I've always said, if you write, whatever you write, you're a writer. You know, there's no such thing as you can't do it. You just write. It might be shit to start with, but if you keep at it, it will get better. And I know that. And Bev will say the same sort of thing about speaking. And so for me, I think much about what Paola was talking about, and in real resonance with this, what has made a difference to me and what I eat and I don't eat. And it really was one of those light bulb moments. And Paola will say it's stuff that we already know. Actually, I've labeled myself as being a chocolate addict for years. Turns out I'm not. Turns out I'm not really bothered at all. Turns out I can have one chocolate and no more. And that so much is about mindset. So, you know, I think that believing we are, it's really, I think it's like business. You know, in business, sometimes we're comparing ourselves to people and we think they're more successful than us. And I think you can do exactly the same yourself. Well, you know, I'd like to be able to lose weight. I'd like to play golf. I'd like to whatever. And I'm really working at it. Well, actually, if you say you are, you're halfway there, really, aren't you? Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go off my soapbox and go to others that want to have comments themselves about habits, or which is not just about giving up or what have you, but things that work for you, your habits, the things that you do. Sarah Mills, I cannot believe you haven't got some amazing habits, for want of another word.
I have got some insights, and it's really interesting that we're talking about habits today, and I can't believe I haven't read Atomic Habits, because I know all about that.
You'll love it.
It's on my list. But what's really interesting was at the weekend, I was sent a link to, some of you might know John Maxwell, who's written a lot of books. He's a big thought leader. He's in his 70s now, but he's written a lot of books on success habits and leading yourself. And he's got this 23-minute little video that I've just watched on YouTube at the weekend. And it's really interesting because he talks about habits, and he says, I'm a leader, I sit on a stage, I talk to people, I look so relaxed. That's because I've done it 12,000 times or whatever. But he says the hardest thing is not about leading others. It's always about leading ourselves.
Yes.
It's always. And then he puts his arm up in the air and said, we've all got uphill dreams and we've all got downhill habits, because you go much faster downhill, right?
Yes.
So you work for like 3 or 4 days. Let's imagine it's about your business, or it might be about you do it. I'm doing it for 3 days, 4 days. And then you give up for 1 day and you slide back down the hill again. And it is, you know, that I think it's just exactly that, what you're saying as well, Jill. It's just doing the small, what seem like insignificant things on a daily basis, whether you feel like doing them or not. You have got to do them. Otherwise, you're on the slight edge to failure, not the slight edge to success, in whatever that is, isn't it? Whether it's going out for a walk, being nice, not getting angry, doing your business, whatever it is. And I think we have to just all say to ourselves, this is a lifelong program that I am in to continually make my habits better. It's not, oh, I've mastered it now. No. I just believe it's a whole lifetime of it, you know. And when we think of it like that, then it's just like the other thing he says, which is really interesting, is some people see their goals, or let's call them your habits, as this tunnel you're going through, and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's heavy and it feels heavy and hard. But imagine you're walking across a bridge to the other side. It's not a tunnel, it's just a bridge. And you feel lighter when you're walking across the bridge than when you're climbing through a tunnel. So, I'm the same. I could tell people about this all day long, but you have to apply them to yourself. And leading ourselves is the hardest thing, isn't it? And creating those good habits. So I'm happy to be on a lifelong learning with all of you and myself. And I learn something from everybody every day. So just
brilliant. Thank you, Sarah. Joe's asked, and I want the same. Do you have that video link to hand? Can you either share it in the chat or send it to me?
It's ever so good. Yeah, I'll pop it in the WhatsApp group.
Pop it in the WhatsApp group. That's brilliant. Yeah, I'd really like that. Super. Thank you. Has anybody got any thoughts that they would like? Tracy?
For once, I'm not muted. Fantastic. I've been listening to a lot of chats this morning on Clubhouse and so on, in between doing stuff exactly about the subjects, about what people have gained or learned through COVID, as I was just talking to Emma in our breakout room. But you know what, for me, I think COVID's been really good. Apart from all the sadness that's been happening, that I've been observing outside there, people losing their lives and all the tragics, almost said shit that went down. But, for me, I've really connected very deeply with myself. And, I've allowed myself to take a step back to do that, and just do a lot in my business to make it work for me. And it's really paid off. And I've started focusing on just listening to my instincts in that sense. But in connecting with myself, I've managed to really connect really deeply and have really nurturing relationships with my kids, which has been great because they've obviously been at home. So it was interesting to see how they are when they're always at home, and to know that I actually really like my children. I don't only love them, I really like them. They're really cool and they're funny, so I got to know my kids better. And we were talking about it the other night. We had a family movie night and my girls came over illegally. The one that doesn't live with me and the one's living with her boyfriend in the second lockdown. And we made a big bed on the floor and they lay on the floor and we watched a Disney movie, which was really, it took me back to the good old days. And I mean, they 24, 20 and almost 16. So I just sat there and I thought, this is the ultimate happiness, this moment. And I don't want that to go away. I want that to last forever. And the only way it can last is to make it a habit. And to make sure that, you don't forget when you get back into that stream of go, 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 like I was before lockdown, and comparing yourself to other people, trying to keep up with other people's ideas and things that they're trying to make you, they're not trying to make you do, but you take it on as, I need to do this because I'm falling behind. So I'm going to have that habit that I'm not going to get overwhelmed by the noise. Focus on what really matters to me, which is those moments when the kids are lying on the floor watching TV, and who gives a shit about whether you haven't done your post, just get off your bloody phone and connect with the people around you. And that's my new habit, really.
That's brilliant. Can I just ask, Tracy, are the kids as committed to you as this? Do
yes,
they appreciate
you know what? They love it. So we're not going to be unrealistic and say, yes, let's do this every Sunday, because no, it's not going to work, is it? And as you all know, goals are about setting achievable goals, which you don't break. So we've decided once a month, the last Sunday of every month is going to be family movie night.
Brilliant.
And everybody gets a turn to choose a movie, even if Mark decides he wants to choose something that we all hate, because we all like our chick flicks, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So yes, we're really excited and we can't wait now. We make it a big thing. Everybody comes with their blanket and their duvet and they come in their pajamas, you know, it's just fun.
That's brilliant. I know where you live. I'm going to be there the last Sunday.
Yes, come join us.
I have to say, sorry to butt in, I have to say, Tracy, this is so cool because John and me and Ollie, so I live with my son, obviously my husband, we have done this, I think we mentioned this, we've been doing a movie night every Friday night for the last 8 or 9 weeks, and we literally get so excited about it. Somebody goes out and buys the sweets, don't tell Paula.
She won't mind.
Oh, I know, I'm on her wavelength. Somebody goes out and buys the sweets. Nobody knows what the movie's going to be. We all sit down. We're not allowed to crunch stuff and make a noise if we don't have to. And we have to watch the movie, no matter what it is. And we just have to enjoy it and just be loving being all 3 of us together in a space, watching something that mum's picked, dad's picked, or 18-year-old boys picked. And it, as Tracy said, it's absolutely priceless. We would never have done that unless we were in this situation, because my son would have been out every Friday night, you know. So I highly recommend it. Obviously, only if you've got children, or maybe just do it with your other half. It's a very, very interesting process.
Well, we do it with my 91-year-old dad. We've just starting last night because he comes in with us a lot more now. Obviously, as you say, we're not going out. So we've just started episode 1 of the Star Wars film. So we've got 9 to go through. He's very excited. I've seen them all, but I agree. Again, Sarah, same question to you. What's Ollie's view? Do you think he'll be wanting to continue that when he can go out with mates? Will there still be a bit of him that wants to do that?
Yeah, I think we probably won't, like Tracy said, we won't be doing every Friday night, definitely. But the fact is, he actually loves educating us on the films he likes.
Yes.
You know, for his there is a feeling of absolute equality and absolute you know, well, this is what we're going to be watching tonight. So whereas before we probably wouldn't have had that, you know, he'd have gone to the movies with his friends. So that I think he finds he's got some control over as well. So I think he does like it too. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Right, who's going to wave the hand at me? Who's next? Sharing their insight. Paula.
I just want to say, I used to do that with my son when he was little and we lived in Switzerland, and we had every Friday evening, we had our television evening, our cinema evening, and I got my glass wine and he got his chocolate, and we just sat there and watched the whole Star Wars series, all of them, one after the other, every Friday night. It was a great time. It was really lovely. And we both, I mean, he's now in Spain and he's away, but we both look back at that and still looking back, enjoy, and it was such a lovely time, really. Because of habits, I just want to say, so a habit I started was, for example, going plant-based. That was a habit I started. I decided one day, you know, we decided, my husband and I, we're going plant-based. And then we did the first weekend in our plant-based thing, we went for a walk on Dartmoor, lovely walk. And there is this hotel called Toobridge Hotel. And they have the wonderful green scones, wonderful scones. And we walked and we just said, well, now we're not allowed to have our scones anymore. We just thought, what are we going to do? And we just thought, well, we set the rules, so we are able to break them anytime. So we went into Toobridge Hotel and we had a lovely scone with clotted cream on it. And then afterwards, we just continued. So what I want to say with that is that we maybe set habits, but we set the habits. And when we set it, you know, then when we break it as well, there's no judgment. Then we can follow it up the next day. So for example, I set myself time to side every day to work on my book every morning, 9 o'clock. But this morning I wanted to read a book. I got a really interesting book about something, a new biology, and I wanted to read in that. So I didn't actually do that. And then later on, Jill was putting something on the side and I wanted to write a post about the minute of silence. So I wrote a post. And now I'm going to write on my book later on today. So I think it's important to see habits that we create them, because we live in a created reality. And then there is no judgment anymore, no judgment from myself, no judgment to others. And I'm flexible and free.
I think that's really important,
Mm.
Paola, thank you, because I think sometimes, you know, back to business, we get caught up with you've got to follow these steps, you've got to do this, and we can find ourselves, if we're not careful, just headlong down whatever rabbit hole it is, thinking this is the only way to be, when in reality, you know, it's not. And I think one of the other things that I think I read in that book I talk about that I think is important is choosing the habits that fit you. I mean, he talks about, I think it's one of the American swimmers, Michael Phillips, I think, one that won 7. He's 6'4", and he then talks about one of the Egyptian runners who's about 5'5". They're both Olympic champions. They both won everything. They couldn't swap over. It would be no good. The speed that's necessary for the Olympic swimmer, you know, you've got to be tall, and it would be no good being that heavy if you're a long distance runner. So it's about choosing things that work for you and making sure that we're in control of that, because, you know, if we're going by willpower all the time, then that's just going to become really, really hard. I think we've got to choose things that suit our personality, suit our style, that we engage with, and that there is, as you said, Paola, I think that there's no judgment on. That's great, thank you. Annette, have you got what? Sorry, go on.
To say, I mean, life is really about what we want to do and not what we should do
Yes.
or have to do. So
Yeah.
I think that's really, and that's what we're good in.
Yeah, and we're more likely to achieve, whether you're talking goals, habits, whatever it is, something that we really want to do, that we love, that we're passionate about, because that drives you when things are difficult. You know, I was talking to Dawn earlier today, and you wake up Sundays and I think I could take on the whole world. And the next day, oh, I'm not really sure I want to do any of this. And you've got to match it, haven't you? It's no good setting yourself challenges that are going to be really hard when you're having what we call in our house an out of sorts day. Cool. Annette, thoughts?
Yes.
Poorly
Yes,
written.
so I'm a great, yes. Well, some of my habits have gone a bit haywire recently, because I've had several days of waking up and thinking I can't be asked to do anything today.
Yeah,
If I get
okay.
dressed and wash my hair, that will be fine. But I'm a great fan of this whole idea about compound effects. And I'm definitely going to read the book. I meant to order it and I just haven't got around to it, because years ago, there's a guy called Darren Hardy, who's an American. I expect Sarah's heard of him, and he's written a book called The Compound Effect. And I read that years ago when I was in corporate, when I first started working from home, actually, a lot. And he's and that got me into really, I do believe just doing a little bit every day is just because it does build up. It's like contacts, or making contacts for your business. If you don't miss a day, you've always got a pipeline. And I sort of think that's a bit like habits. So if you know, sometimes you might miss out on a few things you'd like to do, but if you do some of them, it all builds. And I agree with it's not about beating yourself up. It's not necessarily about letting yourself off the hook, but it's absolutely not about beating yourself up if you don't do it all, and if you don't do things the way other people do, which is, it took me a very many years to actually be comfortable. But actually, I may not always achieve everything that I want to, but actually now I do know the best way of me trying to do it without changing habits or whatever that might be. And so thinking about what Tracy said, I think the last year has really taught me, I have connected much more with myself, and I have changed a lot since in the last 5 or 6 years, but I've actually much more connected with my spiritual side. So I don't have an organized religious view particularly at all, but I am spiritual, and I've spent the last year has encouraged me and led me down the path of experiencing and connecting with that, which has actually helped me to focus in on what the habits that I need to do to help me achieve what I want to achieve. So yeah.
What have you got any thoughts about what you're going to do differently when the work? I mean, we don't know what normal's going to be. Do you think there are things that you will do very differently?
Yes, I do. I will do things very differently because I have, I was brought up to achieve, you write a list, you achieve it. I hate lists. I do mind maps and I've done that for years, but it's still ticking off. So I'm actually rather than being driven by contacting so many people, doing so many posts, doing this, that, and the other, I'm allowing myself, going back to what Sarah, I think, was actually, when you talked about leading yourself, Sarah, I did resonate with that. It's about leading myself down the path that I want to go. So my approach to my business is much more organic now than it used to be. So I'm still recruiting people, but I'm actually doing it much more through products and actually more and more conversations with people, because whatever anybody else who's in the same business as me says, I know that this is the way I want to do it. I may not be the most successful, but I know what I want to do and I'm much more comfortable with it. And I suspect I won't be rushing around to all sorts of face-to-face networking events. Social events are very different when it's social networking. And so I think that's what I will be. And I will be doing, because I don't think the world is going to go back to that for a start. And also it's opened up for more people, the whole global reach that we have through social media and connectivity, which I think is absolutely amazing, because I absolutely love it. I love the fact you can talk to somebody in Australia and, and who you've only met a week before and all that sort of thing. It's just brilliant, isn't it? So,
yeah, cool. Thanks, Annette. Great. Right, who shall I go to next? We're doing hotspots. Jo, you're down there, just in case you sneak off.
I am, yeah. I think I am a creature of habit, I think.
Okay.
I've realised by listening to you all. I'm the kind of person who likes process and procedure. And I think when you're like that, you find it quite easy to develop habits. So I find myself doing the shopping on a Sunday, cleaning the guinea pigs out on a Sunday morning. I do certain things. I couldn't clean the guinea pigs out on a Wednesday because it's not the right time to do it. So I have formed some habits, but I think something that Paolo said and just what Annette said, what this has taught me is I very much choose. I know what I don't want to do now. I know what I don't like, and I just don't do it. I know there's things that we have to do, so your social media posts, but actually, if I can get somebody else to do them, then I'll delegate it to somebody else. But yeah, this has really taught me what I don't want to do and the habits I don't want to break. So like talking to Paola about giving up sugar. I don't want to give up sugar. The thought of that is like, I don't have lots of sugar, but yesterday I gave up bananas on my Weetabix, because since about January, not only have I started to have bananas on my Weetabix, I have a spoonful of sugar on my banana. So sugar on sugar on sugar. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Just stop the banana because you're eating sugar. And I was never a sugar person. I don't have sugar in my tea. I don't have sugar, but I consume plenty of natural sugar, obviously, with alcohol, etc. We've started having a whiskey every night. That's a habit I like. I don't want to break that habit. But, I've swapped that for wine, because wine was really, really bad for me in more ways than one. So yeah, I'm creating habits that I want to have, not habits that I think I need to have. I gave up chocolate for Lent. And again, going back to the thing that Paola said, I got to 30 days and was like, actually, I'm not religious. I've done this for Lent. I'm having a bar of chocolate. So 30 days, I had a bar of chocolate because I had a bad day. But I was really proud of myself that I'd done a month. I'd done 30 days. So that was a kind of a big pat on the back for me, and sod the last 10 days. That's fine. I got to where I needed to kind of get to. So yeah, I've realised I've created a few habits. Me and Craig, we walk the dog every day. Finn tries to love to get me into habits. Mummy, can we go to the park every Wednesday? Can we see my friends every Wednesday? We only need to do it once, and he wants to form a habit from it. He wants me to commit to doing something again on that certain day. So he's obviously picking up little traits from me. So yeah, I quite like habits, but they have to be ones that I want to do. Forcing myself to do something I don't want to do is not good.
No, it's not going to work long term anyway, is it? Let's be honest. If we're resenting anything that we have to do, feel we should do, it's never going to work the same as doing something you want to do. What about the business then? Are things that you're going to carry on doing if the world gets back to any resemblance of normality?
Yeah, I definitely, you know, I definitely want to stay. I don't think, Craig and I were talking about it yesterday about networking and networking. We're not going to get what we want. As I spoke to you when I moved from the networking into this, for me, it's about we've niched into fintech and we've niched into businesses with like, you know, over 100 employees. I'm not going to find that through networking channels locally. When I want to network, it's about developing myself and having that sense of community with people. I'm not massively active on your WhatsApp group. I love reading the messages, but I don't get that involved. But I am there. I'm an observer. I'm a stalker. And when I think, oh, that might be worthwhile me saying that, I say something. But you know, I am watching it all go through, but I'm not that massively interactive. But I love coming and doing this. And when I come and do this, I get the kick of like, yeah, I want to do that again. It's a little bit of an adrenaline fix.
Good. And you do like Jason Statham. That woke you up, didn't it?
There could have only been one way that picture could have improved, and that would have been naked. That would have been fine.
I did consider the half-naked one from the Meg. Sorry if anybody's not looked in the WhatsApp group at my gif of Jason Statham.
I might give up sugar for a day with him. That's possible.
Fabulous.
But yeah, the business. There's lots of things that we'll continue to do. I'm loving, like Annette just said, being able to split. We're zooming with Australia for 7:30 tomorrow morning. We're doing a training session. That's really opened up things for us. We worked from home before COVID. I can't wait to get out and see people again, but I do see how effective what we're doing is, like, you know, being able to talk to people online. I just have to be very aware of what people are receiving the other end, that the interaction face to face with us is much better, and that's what they're paying for. So
brilliant.
Yeah,
okay. Cool. Oh, thanks, Joe. Emma, you and your cat, any thoughts?
That's his lunchtime habit. Yes, if I'm still up here on the computer, anytime from midday onwards. I gave them an early lunch as well, so they wouldn't come up. But because I was out this morning, I think he just wants a bit of company again. But yeah, both of them have made appearances over the last few months while I've been teaching on Zoom. I don't really know what to say. Lots of really interesting thoughts coming through.
But you don't have to say anything. You are a reflector, I know.
Yeah, so I've been reflecting on everybody's comments, most of which I've sort of agreed with. Yeah, I can see those points of view. I've enjoyed being able to go out and do some more walking, and I've been enjoying going out for a walk in the afternoon when the roads have been really quiet. And that's what I'm going to missing already, because there's so much traffic on the roads again already, especially in Exeter at rush hour. Makes for a very unpleasant walk in the afternoon. But I've enjoyed doing that and wanted to do some more. I certainly don't want to be going back to going out 5 days a week teaching. I quite enjoy working from home and the peace and quiet that I get from that.
Can you do the teaching online then, all right?
So last March we were thrown straight online. I'd been teaching online already with one of my training providers in the evening, and yeah, the classroom stuff that I was doing in Exeter, we went straight onto Zoom, and I've been doing it that way. And since last October, November time, been doing a mixture of classroom and Zoom. So those that have wanted to come into a classroom have been able to come into the classroom, and those that wanted to join on Zoom have been on Zoom. So I've been doing both together at the same time. So that was quite interesting, having to learn that and get my head around doing that, and realizing that I can't write something on a flip chart on the other side of the room and expect someone on the camera to see it. Didn't work. I wheeled the flip chart over to the camera, but that didn't really work. So I had to change things around for the next week for that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Fabulous. Thanks, Emma.
Can I just, Emma?
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see you today, because I thought you were going to have the ends of your hair pink.
I've been looking. All I found is semi-permanent in the supermarket, and I don't know where to get wash in, wash out from.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just do
You can
it.
always cut it. You can always cut it.
Emma, go to Amazon and put in hair colour chalk.
Or food colouring.
That was our last chat a month ago. So just checking up on your habit.
A bit of accountability.
Yeah.
When I was
Inner pink, Emma, bring out your inner pink.
Yeah.
when I was 16, I used to go to nightclubs because you could then, and I had 2 streaks of bleached hair, which I used to dye with food colouring, green, blue, whatever, which was all right until it got really hot when you're dancing, and then the food colour would just run all down your face. Anyway.
They were good punk days, Jill.
Yeah, those were the days.
Just
Thanks,
no
Emma.
dancing then, Emma.
Right, now I know about this. We're going to hold you accountable for the next meeting. It's a couple of weeks' time. We'd like to see pink hair, if you don't mind, at the end. Just at the end, just a little try.
Yeah, that was the plan, just to put
Bit of a
pink
chalk.
in the end. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Thanks, Emma. The lovely Dawn, welcome again to our members club. Have you got any thoughts, given the conversations that we've all been having?
Well, the only thing that I really enjoy, which I work out if I can actually get away with in the office, I actually like working with my slippers on. I do in the office. I kick my heels off when I have them on anyway, but I mean, obviously, you know, probably not ideal most of the time, but I do like my slippers on. But I tell you, one of the things that I've been doing, it's funny we've been talking about it. I have been trying to read a lot of books. So the latest one that I've been told to read that has just literally been published is this one.
Ah, Do Build, How to Make and Lead a Business the World Needs, Alan Moore.
So that's the one I've been given. I've been asking everybody I know, recommend a book to me.
Yeah.
And once I've read them, I've got quite a few now. I'm going to go to Taunton Library and see if they'll improve their business section and put all the books in there.
Brilliant.
So yeah, so if anybody wants to read it alongside me, then perhaps we can have a discussion about it as to what we think.
We could always do a book club evening, couldn't we? That'd be quite entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bev's nodding already.
That's not a habit I can join. I struggle to read a book from start to finish. I ordered Mindset, the Carol Dweck one last week. I've read the first. The writing in that is so small, it's unreal, so small.
Yeah, but I think this one will be different, Joe, because it's actually he's quite respected, and he's quite an interesting chap. And apparently, the recommendation I had was that you will not put it down because it's quite challenging in it.
Oh,
So,
challenging
anyway,
of
so
you.
as you can see, it's brand new. I haven't actually started reading it yet, but it's on the agenda. I think I might actually get going tonight on it.
It's the habit thing for me. You know, Sarah, you were saying you can do things for like 3 or 4 days, but then I moan at Craig because he's either all or nothing. He'll run and run and run and run, and then if he stops for 2 days, he doesn't run for 3 months, and then he'll start again. And I bought this book. You see that?
The Life-Changing Magic and Not Giving a FUC.
Oh yeah, I've seen
I've
that.
seen that book.
Yeah, I found it so interesting, and I got to. Well, it's folded over. I got to page 79. And then I've not picked it up again since.
The butler did it, Joe.
Folding a page over in a book. Tap,
Yeah.
tap. I'm very precious about books.
I write all
My
over.
book, I paid for it.
I do that too.
I scribble all over my books, write all over them, everything.
Mine have Post-it.
They're brilliant. They're brilliant for like remembering top tips and habits, and I run trainings out of them and
I
everything.
like them.
I think
Okay, so I think we should have a book club with any book,
They're so fucking
and it's got to have that word in it.
swear word in
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
That'd be quite entertaining. So everybody's got to have a different book that's got that word in it.
Let's read Porter.
excellent.
Okay, that'd be a good idea. We all read a different book, and then we have to come back and give just a quick presentation of what
Yes.
the book told us.
Yeah.
Does it have to be a business book, or can it be
No, it doesn't. No, I think it has to be some sort of development.
Personal
a
development.
development book?
Yeah.
Personal,
Yeah.
personal development and professional development.
Yeah, or inspiration. Inspiration.
I'm breaking out in a sweat already
Motivation.
because it means I've got to read one to the end.
Well, not necessarily. Joe, in your case, you could just find out what the book is, go
Just
to
an introduction.
Amazon, read all the reviews,
Oh, no,
and
she
you'll be
can't.
able to summarize it easily.
No, she can't. That's cheating.
No, you can't do that.
I can read
We're
tables.
protesting. Joe reads a book. Joe
Joe,
reads a book.
Joe, you can get very little books with not
I've
many
got a little.
pages in.
I've read all the Patrick Lencioni books. They have to have a start, a middle, and an end.
Yes.
They have to get to an end. I just don't have to learn and develop. I have to know what the outcome is. And I am also such a cheat. If I'm reading a novel, I'll go to the end to find out what happens.
I do. That's why I have to read on Kindle now, because you can't do that on Kindle.
Well, I was going to say,
No, it's only that big. Look, that little book, Leadership. It's only that
what
big.
about that little tiny book here?
Yeah.
What's that one?
Tiny, it's tiny.
I've got the 50 best games for building self-esteem. I've got a personal development library.
I think
So,
Reading book, Joe.
I'm losing control. I'm losing control.
Yay!
Joe,
Yes.
I have a solution to the Carol Dweck tiny writing.
Oh my God. Am I magnifying glass?
No,
Yeah.
Kindle. Get it on your Kindle. And
I
they're
don't have a Kindle.
bigger. You make the text bigger.
On your pad, Joe. You don't need a Kindle. You just get the Kindle app.
Oh, on your iPad.
Why don't
See,
you
that's how
use
enthused I am about writing. I didn't even reading. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, you can do
You
that.
can have it on you can have it on your laptop. I've got my Kindle app on here at lunchtimes. I'm in my Kindle on
What about
my
Audible, Joe? What about
Oh,
this?
yeah, no, I do that. I do that. Yeah, I do Audible, and then I cancelled it because I had so many build up that it was just getting ridiculous.
Just read one page. Look, why don't you do this? Is what I say to people in my team that I have to coach you don't read. I just say, just read 1 page a day.
and that's
And then
absolutely
funny
that's
little
1%. 1 page a day, good habit.
A day. That's
What
it.
is Tracy
Tracy?
doing?
Yeah,
What's
you
Tracy
are my
doing?
nightmare. If I thought that the majority of people were not reading, I don't know why I'm bloody publishing a paper. Honestly, you're all
Well, you got lots of
Paper.
pictures.
I'd read your paper. I'd read your articles. Something has to be amazing to keep me interested.
I don't know what the hell Tracy Kimberg's on.
I think we
What's
all have to
that?
write a book and see if Joe's ever going to read it. If she does, we've got a bestseller.
Have you not read my book, Joe? I'm going to send you a copy now.
Oh, Ladybird have republished. We'll start at an early stage.
What are they called? Peter and Paul or Jane and what?
Yeah.
Janet and John.
Janet and John.
John.
Like your glasses, Tracy.
She's in hysterics. I muted her earlier because there was a lot of noise. Now she can't unmute herself. What are you laughing so much at?
I'm just listening to you guys. It's so funny.
May watch the recording back.
Oh, dear.
Right. Has anybody not had a go? Has anybody got extra thoughts that they haven't shared after listening to all
I
that?
just-
Go
I
on,
just
Ed.
got just a quick extra thought, and this is about the reading thing, Joe. Because if some books, I think, if I can't get into a book, I just don't really always bother with it, to be honest. Which isn't quite the same as not doing. But actually, sometimes I just sit, and then I just let the book open, and I start reading there, and I read a few pages, and I do that quite often with books, and particularly books I've read before, because and then sometimes something triggers my thoughts about that, and I read more of it. So
I'm such a fast-paced person, so I'm up, I'm dog, I'm child, I'm school, I'm back from school, I'm cook the dog, I'm cook the tea, I'm sort the guinea pigs out, get them in. So by the time I sit down, I just want to mong at the TV.
yeah,
So I don't want to sit and read.
no.
But if something is a story and I have to get to the end of it, then I can read it. But if
Oh,
it's a
okay.
self-development thing, I struggle.
Yeah,
I'm with
because
you,
I read when I'm cooking. So I have my well, I don't at the moment because I've only got one hand, but I have my book in one or my Kindle in one hand, and I'm cooking.
Ah,
You have to
that's a
find
lot of
out-
Would you
stirring.
let Jason Stratham read to you, Joe?
Yeah.
Oh,
I bet he does Audible. He's got that.
I'm not sure I'd
voice.
hear any of it.
Everybody
No, I've got a call in one minute.
Right.
Thank you, ladies.
Well, Joe, what can I say? Thanks for all that. Are you up for the book club in about 6 weeks' time?
Just say yes.
I've lost connections. I'll see you all soon.
Get out of here.
Get out. Bye.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, it's not always like this, Dawn.
it is.
Yeah, it is. I'm just going to go back to Bev Hepting because she did a very short start about Paola getting help, but you do all sorts of stuff. So is there anything else you want to add around habits and
I think
Stuff like that.
when it comes to business, I think lockdown has certainly helped me get into the habit of planning better. And I agree that whole reflection thing and simplifying. So I'm trying to get into the habit of not going, oh, that looks like fun, I'm going to do that next.
Yeah.
So I have my big board now, just going, Bev, you coach. That's what you do, you coach. I'm working with a lot of other people. So I think for me, those are the habits I really want to get used to. And then not get into the habit of going, oh, I haven't sold anything today. Just going, I'm enjoying myself. Yes. I love what I do. Money's incidental, and just sort of enjoy, I think COVID has taught me to enjoy and not worry, and to just do what makes me, like Annette said, you know, we do what makes us happy, and trying to keep it simple for me, because like you, Jill, I sometimes go off on a tangent. I've got all sorts of things going on, but actually what I really enjoy is just the coaching.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get into some great habits. Brilliant.
Excellent.
Even started meditating in the morning, because I haven't done that in a long time. So I've done it for 3 days, and I'm going to keep that going. And it's only 3 minutes, but you know, before I start, I'm trying to get into that habit of that 3-minute grounding thing. So
Excellent. All right. Well, I thought we might have a conversation about bad habits we want to give up, but I've changed my mind now. I think we'll go into breakout rooms and develop this in 2s. So I'm going to create some rooms shortly. And then I think if we did 15 minutes in the breakout rooms, that's just over 5 minutes each, just have a bit more in-depth conversation about thinking forward, what you're going to keep doing, maybe things that you might think you're going to stop, and then we'll come back and we'll make some plans for next month. How does that sound? Everybody happy with that? Mm-hmm. Let's recreate, because we don't want to be in the same rooms with other people. Recreate. And whoever finds themselves by themselves, just wait for me, because I need to make sure everybody goes before I join you. Here we go, 15 minutes, and I'll give you a halfway warning. That's you and me then, Annette.
Oh, yes. I wasn't sure.
Recording.
It was lovely to see you all.
Yes, it was
Bye,
really
everyone.
good to see you all.
So I will put a suggestion in the WhatsApp group about a book club in about 6 weeks. And do we like the idea that it's got to have some sort of swear word in the title?
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the F word.
No
Could be
one's
other
ever
words.
done that, Jill. I reckon that's a first. I don't think anyone's ever said,
No,
let's have
me.
a book group. It must have the word F-U-C-K or S-H-I-T in it.
Yeah, or bollocks or anything else, really.
Brilliant.
Right, and that's mine. So no one's getting that one. I'm going to share that.
So how
Right.
do you want to do it? Because everyone was talking before. I didn't get it completely.
Okay, so our thoughts are that we'll. This is something I plan to do in real life. For those of us that were at the George Albert will have heard me say this, that we all read, and if Joe does watch the recording, you can speed read or you can read sections, but we all invest some time in a personal development book. Then we get together and we do a little mini presentation. I don't mean slide presentation. We just talk about that particular book that we wrote, a bit like Sarah was talking about Richard Maxwell.
Well, no, John Maxwell hasn't got a book with the F word.
It's the video, but you talked about that with some passion and the lesson and the things that you picked up. So it doesn't have to be, you know, hours long, but if we all got together having
2 minutes,
and you know, it might be something you've read before and you just renew a bit about, and that I think that would be nice with a glass of wine. So I'm thinking about 6 o'clock.
Yay, I love that. I love the fact we can all read our own book. That's what I think is really clever, that if we all read our own book,
yes,
Tracy it, you know, it could just be 3 minutes. I mean,
Of course. And then we can have a conversation. We'll all know, well, that sounds like a good book. I want to read that.
Yes.
And, you know, if you pick out 3 or 4
yeah,
you know, really good tips. It's a bit like me talking about James Clear. There's a couple of bits there that for me, it was about 1% a day, that compound impact. So for Joe, read it. Well, just read 1 page a day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always going to work. And you suddenly go, I love this. I'm going to do it every day. And particularly, again, from that one from me was you have to believe that you are that person. So I am fit. I'm a golfer and I'm not addicted to chocolate. And I can, if I want to, give up sugar or carbs or whatever it is. And and not I'm trying to. And we all know that on a certain level, and we talk about limiting beliefs and things like that. But I think just saying, yeah, I am that person. I am a golfer. I am fit, and so I've got to find a way to make sure that I can still carry on with me dodgy knee or whatever it is. I think he used an example of two people, and somebody offers a cigarette outside a pub, and one person says, I'm not a smoker, and the other one says, I'm trying to give up. They're both giving up, but one of them says, I'm not a smoker. But the other one says, I'm trying to give up. It's the
messages
to our own
we give
heads.
ourselves. Like I've always said, we give ourselves the worst messages in the world, and
Yes.
words are really powerful in our head.
Yeah.
So
Those
yeah,
little parrots on our shoulders.
yeah.
So there we go. I will put something in the WhatsApp group about the book club. Do we want to invite others if they want to join us from the wider SWIB team? They've got to have read a book, of course. So do you want to stick it? Yeah, yes, no?
I don't mind either way.
Okay. All right. That's the plan.
Post a picture of our book
Yes. Yes.
each other are looking at.
Yes. I like it.
There'll be lots
Building
of
up. We've got to find a date that everybody can do. So I'm thinking about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'll put maybe a doodle poll in the WhatsApp group so we get as many of us there. If you don't want to do it, it's fine. No one's going to be upset, but we'll put that in the WhatsApp group so we can choose an evening that everybody, as many as possible, can do. And if it works, we'll carry on doing it. Oh, I'm excited.
Great, thank
But it
you.
has to have the F word in it.
Well,
Yes.
or the S word, or not
The
the C
B word or
Okay.
So, you know, and not very nice, so shit or bollocks or whatever.
There's loads of books out there with it on.
Yeah. there
Yeah.
are.
Okay.
Okay. Right. I love
Brilliant.
you all. I'll see you very soon.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.